What is up? Welcome back to another video episode of the news. It is Monday. It is Monday. It is Monday.
Wrong call.
Monday. So let's get into the news. So as you know, if you are a member of the channel, you get that special shout out once a week. You also get exclusive videos, early access to other videos, all sorts of great perks. So feel free to join the channel. I appreciate that support. If you can't do that, completely fine. Just like the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel. That means a lot as well. All out of the way, let's get into the news because we got a lot. We got a lot to get into. But we'll begin with Harman Phoenix 2. This is the film that was released last week, and as promised, I did a video on that release last week. But today I want to talk about kind of some more reactions from it, some feedback that I've heard from people, and any kind of upcoming developments on that front. So to begin, we have the poll that I put out. Thank you all, everyone who voted. It really helps deliver like accurate information when I have more than like 2 people voting. Not that that's ever happened, but I do appreciate the feedback. Oh, 288. Okay, even better. The options I put out there were can't wait to try it out, might buy a roll just to see, or hard pass. So there were 2 pretty positive options and then 1 negative option, and that overall we got 47% for can't wait to try it out, 44% for might try a roll, and 9% for hard pass, which would kind of lead me to think that a lot of people are generally kind of interested in the prospect of a new film on the market, and a few people are not, and that's completely fair. Some of the comments that I read, people were concerned about the price of it and it's still being marketed as an experimental film, kind of wondering what the real world applications are going to be for it, which is a very fair consideration. I think with more testing, with more results people give, it might show itself to be useful in certain circumstances. I went out last week and shot with my buddy John, and we took some photos at night. And the results that he got at night were actually really nice. You can check out his video on the difference between Phoenix and Phoenix 2. The video should come out sometime today. I have some 120 that I'll be developing soon. I have some 35mm coming in the mail from Need Film Developed. Check him out on Instagram. Check out his shop as well. A lot of good stuff for very reasonable rates. Feedback thus far, from my perspective, has been a lot of skeptical optimism, I would say. People are hopeful. People are excited. I know when I was out shooting, I was kind of excited because you don't know what this film is going to look like. And there's something that's kind of fun about that. Obviously, if you're doing something like a wedding or engagement photography or anything kind of important, you don't want that feeling. You want to have like something that works for sure. But if you're just having fun with film, it's kind of fun to see what that fun will end up looking like. That's kind of where we're at with the Harman Phoenix as of now. Speaking of film launches, we have the Lucky Color Film launch. It is official, kind of, and it is out, kind of. So I actually have to shout out a good friend of mine on Instagram. You can check out his work right here. He lives in China. He actually went to the Lucky Color Film launch event and was able to provide some kind of exclusive footage of the event. You can see how long the line was, and you can see how kind of hectic it was, but he ended up getting the roll of film. So shout out to him for that. I do have some feedback from him that I want to share, namely regarding the pricing, and then I heard from some other people as well, some other information that I'll be sharing, but we will get there briefly. As he messaged me, he said sales will start in 20 minutes. The official price on the site, like in person, is 52 CNY, which is 7.2 USD. Online, it is 59 CNY, which is 8.2 USD, which I believe is a raised price from the last price that we were kind of pitched. So I don't know if that's just for this first pilot batch or if that's for the batch continuing forward. But it again shows an increase of price, which is not great, I would say, at least in terms of the effects on the American market. But as we'll read here, it's not great in terms of the effect on the Chinese market because Fuji 200 in China is 60 CNY. Whether it's Kodak or Fuji is either Kodak or Fuji, which is well-known brand that produces really quality and again known variables, known results. Why would you save $1 for a roll of the dice? Online, they're able to buy it from Taobao, which is AliExpress, and JD, which is a Chinese variation of Amazon. Apparently, there was some confusion because on JD, the store put up Lucky 200. It included free development. However, we found out the address for free development is not Lucky, but a random development store. JD might be a dealer, and the news from Lucky officials pointing to the store on JD, and the staff from the Taobao store have no clue what is happening. The conclusion so far is the JD store went earlier than scheduled. So that's kind of where we're at on his front. Again, thank you very much for the footage. It's very helpful. There is some other unfortunate-ish news, I would say, that I saw from other people, that this first batch was actually not the finished batch. It's more of like a pilot batch. They sold out online pretty quickly, and I think they sold out on site as well. The pilot batch is what they were selling, and then this is not the finished emulsion. Apparently, allegedly, this is the kind of hand-coated emulsion, so it's not finalized. It's not like machine-coated. My question was, why would they do that? Like, why would they rush it? And the point was to make sure that they could get to this expo and to make that launch. Now, that's a business strategy. And as one who owns a barely successful business, I don't want to like postulate or, ooh, I don't know if I would do that. But I am going to do that because it does seem to be a bit of a misstep. Maybe you have a huge amount of support as seen by these videos, and then you launch a not great product in a rush in confusion. Kind of leads to less interest from the audience moving forward. Now, so far as I can tell, there's not really been a whole lot of news on this stateside. The Lucky Film Global Instagram page has not really posted anything, so I don't really know what the connection point is there, but I will continue saying what I've said. It's probably not a great sign that they've raised the price as much as they have. If they have to do that because developing film is expensive, and as like real world conditions settle in, completely understand that. But when they came out saying $5 a roll of color film in the US market to disrupt it, and now it's going to be more like $8, not including the tariff cost, not including any other cost that might be added on to that, which could lead it to be more like $9, $10, which is about the same as Color Plus 200, about the same as like Ultramax at some shops, about the same as a lot of other like quality color film. Kind of begs the question as to why would you purchase this outside of making a video about it, outside of like just for kicks and giggles. So, and beyond that, again, the deadline moving as much as it has, and then hearing that they've kind of rushed to meet it at this point, I just think that some skepticism, some questions are fair to ask, and those are my skepticisms and questions. I should be getting some results soonish on the test roll, so when those come in, I might make a separate video on that. I might include them in next week's video. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you so very much for sending me some great information, some great video packaging and stuff. Let's move on to happier news, which is Opticolor Old School. So I just shot a roll of the 35, and the results are pretty okay. Obviously, as we know, this is an Orwo film that has been repackaged as Opticolor and now also as Kono. But it's a 200 speed color film, and I'm not the biggest fan of their 400 and 500 speed color film. Some people are, more power to them. I'm wondering what the results of the 200 were going to look like, and they're kind of the same, except a little bit better. There's a bit more pop in some of the colors. There's not as much noise. There's still quite a bit of grain, but there's not as much noise. There's not as much like random artifacting and hieroglyphic work going on. But overall, it is an okay film. I shot the 120 roll and how that developed, and we'll do a full review on that in the future. Moving on to film that you can get for cheaper. We have a new shop in Germany. This is filmriss.shop on Instagram. And online shop that tries to sell film that's cheap and affordable. They're selling Cosmo 250 and Cosmo 500T, which is respooled Vision 3, Corn 100, and Corn 400, which is respooled Fomapan. I'm presuming that the Corn is in reference to the band, which is hilarious, and I love it. But the Cosmo 250D, 500T are releasing in 24 exposure rolls and 36 exposure rolls for €499 and €699 respectively. The Corn 100 and 400 is 24 exposures for $299 and 36 for $399. So insanely low rates, I would say. The other thing that they mentioned, these aren't the promotional launch prices. This is something they're hoping to maintain in the future. So that's pretty exciting, I would say. If you're in Germany or if you're in Europe, that's pretty low cost. If you're a student, I feel like that would be a fantastic option there. So I asked when they're releasing and all this stuff, and it looks like they're starting pre-orders in a couple of weeks and then shipping mid-August. So I would say check them out on Instagram. They do have what appears to be a website out now, so I will link that down below as well. Pretty exciting though, and thank you to them for reaching out. Always love to hear from people with news. Speaking of companies with news, it looks like our friends over at Celluloid Collective do have some new Aerochrome stock. And it looks like they just tested it, so we should be seeing live sales soon. Check out their website, see what they have in stock, follow them on Instagram, all that good stuff as well. And then moving on to shop that is producing things. We have a huge update from Analogue Amsterdam and their AF1 product. Now, this is something I saw last night. Production is moving in a positive direction. Looks like they got the shutter taken care of. They got the optics taken care of. They have a pretty cool new design for the rear screen. They finalized some of the extra things like the strap and the packaging of the box, which is going to kind of tie into the overall experience. The prototype should be ready to go by late July, so sometime end of this week. Then it looks like we're going to be receiving first images from the camera itself in August. They've done some new things to test the autofocus features to make sure that those are up to snuff. They've done some minor improvements to the sliding element in front of the lens, and then also it looks like they've done a lot to develop a battery door cover, which is huge because as somebody that has seen many broken battery door covers on point and shoots and many about to be broken battery door covers on point and shoots, that is a huge point of pressure and tension, and so making sure that that actually works and is satisfying to use is a very underrated component. And again, the attention to detail is great in my opinion. We'll obviously have to see how the product is, but I encourage you to follow them on Instagram so you can stay up to date with stuff. I will keep you apprised with further developments as well. I'm excited to see what the pictures are going to look like. I'm excited about it overall. Now for our final topic, we have a new product, a new video, a new tease of a potential product that could potentially revolutionize the way that film is developed. I'm of course talking about Magnamatic, which is a automated film developing tank produced by a guy on the internet. The tank itself is revealed in a video that I will link down below if you want to check it out. It's a pretty solid and concise video going over some of the details about the system, how it works, how it operates, all this stuff. There's heating units to make sure that the chemicals are properly heated. There's also a pump and valve system to drain chemicals to film, all sorts of stuff. And there's a magnetic coil system, I believe, that turns the film to make sure that the development process is evenly distributed amongst the film. It works with 110, 35, and I believe 120 as well. You can process any kind of C41, black and white, E6 chemicals all very easily because you just dump the chemicals in yourself and the machine kind of takes care of the rest. Now I reached out to the producer of this product, asked him a couple of questions about his plans with it, future plans, so on and so forth. Here's some of his answers. I'll keep it kind of short here, but the project began in February. The video was posted in July. Done to film processing at home, and the hope is to lower the entry cost into film photography, which I think is a very noble effort. The idea behind it was to keep it so simple that all you have to do is fill it up with chemicals and then you're good to go. Very, very simple, straightforward. The entirety of the system, in his words, all of the 3D filament, the pumps, valves, all sorts of stuff, is 140 British pounds or just below that, and that's a pretty insane deal for it being completely automatic. I asked about the future of the product, if he wants to run a Kickstarter, try to sell it, or make it open source, and the idea is making it open source, Running monopoly business on this is not my strong suit. If someone out there can make this themselves with the instructions and files I support, I believe they deserve to have this piece of engineering marvel, which again I think is a very noble effort. All that to be said, very kind gentlemen, thank you very much for the video, thank you for the email, I appreciate that very much. Remember, check out his channel. He's probably going to be putting out some new stuff there in the future, so go support him if you can. Hopefully we will see the Magnamatic out on the open source for people to make themselves, because I think it would be a great opportunity to give people anywhere who might not have as much moolah an opportunity to develop film themselves in a very easy setting. Go show him some support. I'd appreciate it. He'd appreciate it. All kinds of good stuff there. That pretty much rounds out the news today. But before we get into the wrap-up itself, I want to give a special shout-out to, again, colorful analog cameras. Remember, if you want to customize your cameras, make them look cool, make them feel special, there's no better way to go than colorful analog cameras. At the very least, go show her some love on the social medias, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all kinds of stuff there. And of course, Reveni Labs, the highest quality camera gear on the market. Check him out. The Lumo Light Meter pre-orders are still open, I believe, and the shipping is going to be soon. So make sure to pre-order one of those if you haven't done so already. Everything else on his shop is pretty phenomenal, so go check that out as well. Reasonable prices, great service. Matt's a great guy, so go support him as well. We have some reactions on the Harman Phoenix 2 launch. Overall, people seem to be pretty excited about a new player in the market. We're just going to have to see how this experimental film really shapes up as more people use it. We have the Lucky Color 200 launch, which went off not without a hitch. Apparently in China there was some confusion as to the pricing of it, as to the release schedule, as to where you could buy it from. It will be interesting to see how that will impact its success or its projection in the American market. We also have some results from Opticolor Old School in 35mm. I'll have some results in 120 as well, so a future review video of that 200 speed color film stock is in the future. Film Riz shop in Germany is opening up with the lowest film prices I've seen in quite a bit of time. Pre-orders are happening in a few weeks and they're looking to ship mid-August. Celluloid Collective appears to have gotten their hands on some more Kodak Aerochrome, so make sure to check out them on Instagram and their website to make sure you don't miss the launch of that on their shop. We have another huge update from Analogue Amsterdam and their AF1 project. Things seem to be going very well with some results from the camera, hoping to be launched in about August. And of course we have a new photo developing tank, a new automated photo developing tank that looks to be coming out open source. Should be less than $200, which is a pretty phenomenal price tag. Everything's automated, everything's very affordable. The video is fantastic. I recommend you check it out. Thank you very much for watching today's news video. I appreciate it very much. We should have a bit more news next week as well, just kind of digging into some more of these stories. I want to figure out more about what's going on with the Lucky Color stuff because I feel like that's pretty important. And I'm very curious to see how that's going to impact the greater American market as a whole, as well as the Chinese market. And hopefully we'll have some results on the actual film by next week. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Subscribe so you don't miss out on other videos I have in the future. A lot of good stuff coming out, so thank you very much for the support. I will catch you all on the next one.